Hey guys, we're not going to start the show with the same energy we usually bring. We will get to that energy, but kind of a sad day in the hockey and sporting and Canadian history world. We have Walter Gretzky pass away last night. He passed away just before the Leafs went to second intermission, and it kind of changed the tone of the whole night. Um, he was 82 and he passed away just last night, and we're all kind of feeling the effects of it today. And I don't know if you guys watched Sports Center this morning, but I thought they did a really nice job. Like the first half an hour of the show was just dedicated to him, and they had all the analysts in there to talk about it, like Jeff O'Neill, Ray Ferraro, Craig Button. They were all just
Dave
telling
Poulin.
stories about him. Dave Poulin was there too. Jay Onright. And I thought it was a really nice touch.
Yeah.
And I think we should spend a couple minutes just talking about kind of the legacy he left behind. And Matt, I'm going to start with you because you started hockey kind of later on.
Yeah, I did.
Later on, like I remember you were probably 8 or 9 when you started playing. And were you aware of Walter Gretzky and what he had done for the game or the impact that he had?
Yeah, of course I was. You just see it, like, especially when I went to the Brantford hockey tournament growing up, Josh, if you remember those. And
Yeah.
I think there wasn't a poster of Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky. There's a poster of Walter with it was the picture, I'm blanking on it, but it was a picture with him and his arm around Wayne when Wayne's wearing that blue Under Armour thing. So yeah, people talked about him all the time. It was definitely motivational, and there's always hockey players that we try to emulate, whether it's Gretzky, Crosby, McDavid, but he was a hockey parent that all the parents tried to emulate. So
Exactly.
I definitely think it's kind of a once in a lifetime kind of person and legacy. Like, we all hear the nice stories of him letting people go in his house and look at all the memorabilia. He was just a really nice guy. You saw Wayne loved him, and Wayne Gretzky wouldn't have became Wayne Gretzky. And I know we talked about Gretzky, but he raised I think a few other NHL players. Yeah, 5 other siblings. They played hockey all the time. They were really well mannered. I think most of them are still working in hockey.
Yeah.
So I just think once you see that, it's not necessarily a one and done in terms of a hockey child. So he was obviously a great father. You heard the stories of him letting them play pond hockey for like 12 hours. And it's definitely hard to see him pass, but I definitely think he should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame if he's not already.
He should definitely be in there, like under the builder category, because he helped grow the game immensely, right? He had time for everyone. Like he was a huge Leafs fan. You always see him at Leafs games, signing autographs, talking to kids, talking to parents. And he'll be missed. He'll be definitely missed in the rink and around. And yeah, I don't know. Like I'm still kind of at a loss for words for it as like try to process the passing of him. But I just thought we should address Brandon, you probably have something to say on Walter Gretzky as well, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. It was super touching that you mentioned on the broadcast of Sports Center last night. It was last night for me, right? So I was staying up late for some reason, and after the Leafs game, after a loss especially, I couldn't take my eyes away from the screen, and it was a special tribute. I got Canada or whatever, the world got access to a couple different films and pictures that I've never seen before of Walter and Wayne, and stories like I mentioned Dave Poulin allowing the Russian players. Dave Poulin was mentioning the story of when Walter allowed some of the most famous Russian hockey players over for dinner and snuck them some beers in the basement, which is something my dad would do, which brings it all back to something that he had an impact on families across not just Canada but the world. He had an impact on the way people were in awe of backyard hockey rinks and how they made them. And personally, I do have a couple memorabilia items that I got from playing in Walter and Wayne Gretzky related tournaments in Brantford, like Matt mentioned as well. And he always would take the time to sign things for me and my team. I could imagine how many signatures that guy has ever signed in his life. So, there was a story that if there was 200 kids and it was 10 p.m., him and his son would have to wait until everyone was signed and everyone
Right.
got their autographs and everyone got their time with Walter, because that's just the type of guy he was. Yeah, it is super sad. I don't want to spend too much time, bringing my feelings further down at the moment, but it's a really sad day, and it comes. It came too soon, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, we just wanted to pay our respects to him and thank him for everything he did for the game. And yeah, I mean, there's no easy way to move on here, so let's just get right to it. I messaged you guys earlier on the week that I wanted to open the show with my rant, but it just seemed inappropriate with the past events that happened, so I'll do it now. I'm sick and tired of people saying that the North Division is the easiest division in hockey. If you look at it, you look at these other divisions. Tampa gets to play Detroit a bunch of times. The division with all the California teams is a freaking joke. And is it the East Division? They're just beating off on each other anyway. If you take a look at the standings and you look at the teams Toronto has beaten, they have only beaten one or two, depends where Vancouver is now after last night's win. They've only beaten one team in the bottom 8 of the league. Like, they do have a tough competition, and people are just. I honestly think if it was Montreal in first place or Vancouver or any other of these Canadian teams in first place, they'd be saying how, oh wow, they had such a good off season, and oh wow, they're working really hard, they're doing a great job, they're burying Toronto in the standings. And I just think it's that Toronto media trying to hate on everybody else. And it's going to come back to bite you when Toronto, runs into the Final Four, even makes it to the Cup final. Like, use your head a little bit, give your head a shake, and actually take a look at the numbers and the teams playing and the hockey being played, the goals being scored. The North Division is the most offensive division in the league right now. And Toronto is putting up fantastic defensive numbers. So what does that say about you? And then you get those dumbass media personalities out of Boston, Washington saying, oh, you got some big hits in this game. Don't see that in the North Division. I'm sorry, but the last time I checked the score sheet, hits don't win games. It's putting a puck in the back of the fucking net that wins a game. And you know who's doing that the most? Teams in the North Division. So give your head a shake. Like, let's wake up here and let's stop with the North Division slander, because it is the most entertaining division. It's probably, am I fair in saying it's the most competitive? I think there's an argument to be made. It's the most competitive. Toronto's going into a 3-game stand with Winnipeg after their next one with Vancouver. That's going to really set the tone for the rest of the year. So, think before you speak. And one last thing, Edmonton fans who are messaging me directly on TikTok, I'm just going to ignore you because it's hilarious how butthurt you are about that little tribute video I posted of McDavid going pointless. So, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just say, I know as Canadians we love hockey and stuff, but I think we have to understand that. Josh, I was supposed to say something genius. Okay, yeah. So I think as Canadians, we just kind of have to understand that, like, since all the Canadian teams are in one division, I don't think Americans watch or really care about this division.
Right.
Like, I know that's kind of a hot take, but Josh, just how you're saying.
No, it's correct, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm not really watching any of the other divisions. Like, if it's
exactly.
I'll watch
So,
it,
like,
but I'm not actively seeking it out.
Like, exactly. Like, I think Boston media, Tampa, well, the state of Florida, really, with Panthers playing good, Chicago, Detroit, all these other teams, like, they don't really need to keep an eye on the Leafs. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
So I think it's just so easy to discredit it and say, oh, it's bad. Oh, it's bad. And also something about the Canadian division that no one really understands. Like, actually, Josh, you said this. Like, the offense is so good, I understand why the defense looks bad, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
But people have to understand that Chicago is in a playoff spot. Minnesota is in a playoff spot. So you can't say your divisions are so much better when I don't care how good they are this year. Those two teams are not good hockey teams.
No.
The Leafs would destroy them. Like, I think Montreal would probably beat both of them. So, like, I think, like, I don't know why this is always a conversation. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, it's a once in a lifetime where these divisions are a thing. They might not still be a thing. We don't really know. And it doesn't matter. You just got to beat the teams that are in your division. So I think a lot of people need to wake up and stop comparing, because like you just sound ridiculous. Even you said it, Josh. Is like, oh, you're gonna see Boston in the conference final. It's like, you know how happy Leaf fans would be if we went to the conference final. Like, I don't understand why this is a thing.
And I'm tired of this narrative too. Like, okay, I'll get to this point later. I just want to go quickly on the other divisions. So you look at the Central Division: Columbus, Nashville, Detroit, and Dallas have to play Tampa, Carolina, Florida, and Chicago. That's the top and the bottom. That is 4 weak-ass teams in Columbus, Nashville, Detroit, and Dallas. Take a look at the Mass Mutual East. Rangers are a joke. Jersey are a joke. Buffalo is the laughing stock of the league. And Pittsburgh ain't that strong this year either. And then you take a look at the West: Anaheim, San Jose, LA, Arizona, and Minnesota. That's 5 bad teams. How many bad teams do you have in the North? Ottawa, Vancouver? Like Calgary,
and
Calgary
Vancouver
just made
wasn't
a
even
change.
supposed to be bad.
Right. Calgary just made a change, so they're probably going to pick it up a little bit. Montreal, we're not quite sure what they're doing, but Edmonton and Winnipeg, they're not bad teams. Right? So let's cut the crap with that. Also, stop saying, oh, you know, they haven't played Boston yet, or they still have to play Boston, they still have to play Tampa, they still have to play Vegas. No, you know what? They have to play us. Because take a look at the standings. Who is first? Who is top of the league by, what is it, like 6 points now? The team in first place, 38 points, leading the league by 5 points. You know what team that is? The Toronto Maple Leafs. You know who's looking up at them? 30 other teams. So we don't have to play them. They have to play us. If playoffs are to start right now, home ice, us, even though home ice would probably be in Buffalo if we're talking about it. So let's cut the crap and appreciate this team for what they are. I think that's fair. Right, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, those are that was the opening rant that was so promised throughout the week. Then, you know, maybe I don't know you as well, because I was expecting some name drops and some hats.
I can drop names if you want me to, man, but
it's up to you. It's your rant. But in terms of that, the topic of what you said generally, my opinion is yes, we are the first place team in the league. No matter how you look at it, and teams do have to realize that they have to play us as well. Personal notes on the Leafs, though. Anyone? Like, I'm missing Simmons still.
Yeah, so let's transition over to the Leafs then, I guess. I think we'll start with Brandon there. I think they definitely did miss Simmons in that lineup last night.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a physical game by any means. However,
no,
it was one of those games where there was no tone set for the Leafs.
Right.
So coming off a back-to-back, it's very foreseeable, I guess, to see that coming. However, there are players that that the Leafs have and have acquired that could do those spark plug moments, and one of those would be Simmons, right? So you miss a fight, you miss a big energy play last night, and you just don't get anything going. It looked pretty stale. I noticed a lot of personal things about Matthews. The way he taped his stick is different now, and Marner skates differently apparently to Josh, and
yeah, he uses his inside edge. Like,
Josh, you need to fuck off. You don't like Marner for some unknown reason.
No, I changed my mind.
No, Brandon, let me just get this guy for a second. Josh, you were proven wrong. You said he wasn't a. Yeah, I know, but like you've never said Mitch Marner proved me wrong. I apologize. Mitch Marner
proved me wrong. I mean, he's got to keep it up.
No. You need to apologize. Apologize.
Apologizing for a guy doing his job.
His face is red.
Oh, it's the fucking lighting in here, man. Let me see.
Don't blame the lighting, Brandon. You were saying something.
It's hard to watch. I don't know if it's really a question to pose now, but we can mention how Matthews is in a scoring drought, or for lack of better terms, I guess, right? Like, he hasn't scored in 2 games since he's been back, obviously from a 2-game.
I thought you were going to say 5 games for a second. I was about to reach through the screen and slap you.
No,
he wasn't playing for 3 of them.
2 games. He didn't play for a couple as well, but I mean, still, do you think that that's a little bit of a slump in comparison to his hot start?
No, because last night I think they were goalied. They look like a team coming off a back-to-back with their third goalie in net, which is what happened. And he had a wide open net on one of his chances. Demko made a couple of good saves on him. You get that chance again in your Matthews, you're probably scoring that. So I'm not too worried about Matthews right now because he's still getting those high danger chances. If he wasn't generating anything in the offensive zone, that's when I would start to worry. And, he's probably going to pop off on tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, Josh, I'm kind of with you. I don't really care, especially because especially a season like this, I think it's so important for mini game segments. Like we play 3 games against Edmonton, 2 against Vancouver.
Exactly.
But you guys scared a lot when David went scoreless for 3 games.
But that was in one segment. Matthews didn't score.
This could be one segment if it goes one more game.
But okay, I personally think the one game in Edmonton that's mentioned.
What would happen if I made a TikTok about Austin Matthews getting no points, Joshy?
No, but it's different.
Dude, don't do it. It's not worth the hate. It's not worth the hate on TikTok. It's not worth it.
I just think against Edmonton, the first game we won 6-1. So to be honest, I don't really care who scores if we win 6-1. I'll take that every day.
Yeah, that's the difference, right?
Toronto exactly. Then we flew to Vancouver. Demko stood in his head. We talked about that in the live stream last night. And it's like Josh said, he had lots of chances. So in my opinion, Saturday, I agree with you, Brandon. If he plays bad Saturday, I assume we'll be talking about that on Monday.
But he didn't play bad.
If he doesn't score on Saturday, I assume we'll be talking about that on Monday.
Yeah.
But the segment that's really important is the 3 games against Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So even if we lose against Vancouver next game, I'll be pissed, obviously. But it's okay because I just think that Winnipeg stretch is so important.
That Winnipeg series is going to be something that really sets the tone going forward, right? Because they're going to be the 2 teams really battling it out for that first spot.
Well, if we win, it's done. Kind of, you know what I mean? I think we're so far ahead.
That's what I wanted to ask you guys. Say they win on Saturday and then they win against the 3 games against Vancouver, against Winnipeg. Do you think that's the division wrapped up?
Yeah, kind of. Maybe not wrapped up, but I think we can definitely slow down. Maybe Thornton and Spezza will come out for some rest a few times. Maybe Freddie will play a little more, just kind of heal the injury a little bit more. Maybe Matthews sits a few games for his wrist. So I definitely think you're going to see a lot more. I don't want to say load management, but I think they'll be smarter in their approach a little bit more. You know what I mean? They'll give some other guys some power play time. Maybe they call up Robertson. I think that's when you can actually assess for the trade deadline and not really worry about the wins and losses as much in terms of it doesn't affect you that much in the standings.
Right. So you brought up the trade deadline, and it's been reported Toronto's out there looking for. We kind of touched on this last night in our Orion Sportscast intermission show, which I had fun with. Toronto's in the market for a top 6 forward. Who are they looking at? Who are they giving up? And how do they pull this off in what time frame? Because you just say Scott Hartnell. And what time frame do they pull this off? Because if you get a player from the States, it's a 2-week quarantine. So I personally, when we talked about it last night, Taylor Hall, I think could be an option if you're looking for a top 6 forward. He's going to want out of Buffalo. But that's going to cost you. Matt, do you have some ideas of names here that Toronto could be looking at?
Well, I definitely think we should go all in. I think I've made that clear on this show.
That was the general message that we got last night.
Exactly. I just think we don't have an opportunity like this again. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with Josh. I don't know if you said this flat out, but I think everyone kind of knows it. Because of the 2-week thing, we have to kind of go about it differently. Because I was looking at the trade deadline day, and it's March 12th and we played Montreal and that day. And then the 2 weeks, the player would be out for 8 games. So I think that's dramatic. On trade deadline, it's April 12th. That's the date on the Monday.
I thought you said March 12th.
Sorry. Monday, April 12th is a trade deadline. And if we make a trade on that day, and it's an American team, they'll be out 2 full weeks. And in those 2 full weeks, we play Winnipeg 4 times. So I definitely think that we're going to have to do it maybe a week before. I think traction will be gained the first week of April. But in terms of the guys that's on my list, I definitely think Taylor Hall and Eric Stahl, both of them, is on the list. And seeing what's happening in Nashville right now, this is going to be crazy to see. We're going to have to pay a lot more. But I think Philip Forsberg and Ekholm, I think you look at those two.
I don't want anybody from Nashville.
They have one, but both of them have an extra year on their contracts, which I think can be golden for the Leafs. It's kind of like a Muzzin thing. And I just think you have your left wing, you have another star defenseman. It's going to cost you probably 2 first-round picks, Sandin plus. But I just definitely think in terms of going for it, that's the type of deal I would look for. Another D and probably a left winger. And a third-line center maybe.
Right, like if I'm Dubas, I'm looking at bringing in a big name because you're gonna, well, not necessarily a big name, but someone that can make a big impact, right? Like I think we were
a big sporting piece.
We were talking last night. Like if you're looking at Taylor Hall, it's probably costing you. What did we say, Brandon? It was Kerfoot, VC, and a first.
Yeah, well, we're hoping that Buffalo would take half of the salary, right?
They would have to, yeah.
No, they will. They will, yeah.
Yeah, and then and then you're only getting like 20 games out of Taylor Hall, and the time frame we're looking at here, I think it's around mid-March. Toronto, there's a stretch where they play 5 games in 2 weeks. That's where the trade will most likely be made, because then you can get that player in quarantine, and he's only missing a couple games, as opposed to what Matt said, 4 games against Winnipeg. Like I think there's a stretch there where they play 5 games, 3 of them against like Ottawa and 2 against Vancouver or something. So there's a nice stretch there where you can start bringing in pieces, really evaluate where your team's at while the rest of the team is getting rest as well. But it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. And it's going to be, we haven't seen this in a while, it's going to be a buyer's market this year for the trade deadline, not just in Canada, but all over, because teams have been told, like the owners have told these GMs, we don't have money. We can't bring in any more contracts. So what you have is what you got. But then the big markets like Toronto's going to be looking to add because they have money. I think Montreal might do something. And then outside, like maybe Boston and maybe a couple of the New York teams. But other than that, I don't think we really are going to see much movement. So, but yeah, I'm super excited to see what goes on at the trade deadline. And I think we're going to see a lot of movement to just a few teams, if that makes any sense. So we'll see. Right, Brandon?
We will see. There's not too much news on that right now because no deals have happened.
No, it's all speculation. So another surprising turn of events last night. The Flames win 7-3 and then immediately fire their coach.
Can I go off on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Brad Treliving. How do you say it, Brad? What is it?
Brad Treliving. This is his 5th head coach. Yeah.
Josh, I sent you the tweet.
Yep.
If I'm an owner, that's inexcusable, no? Actually, you know what? Let's just say it's his 4th, because I don't think the Bill Peters situation you could throw in there. He was...
Sure you can. The owner... He hired Bill Peters.
But, I think, yeah, Josh, I understand, but I just think that's kind of a tricky situation. So you might want to give your GM the benefit of the doubt, or at least hear him out in terms of, I had no idea. Everyone I talked to said good things. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
So I wouldn't use that. But anyways, even 3 is enough. I just think it's too long. They've had minimal success as a franchise since 2014 when he's been there. I think they won the President's Trophy once, and that's it. They always get killed in the playoffs. And also, Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan, say what you want about them. They've only made $6 million their whole career. I think that's enough money so you get other pieces in there and you can do something. But no, they've been bad. The Sam Bennett pick, which was his first draft pick, didn't really work out. Matthew Tkachuk pick worked out, but that was 3 years ago. What were you doing in between those 3 years? So I'm so sick of all these Canadian franchises throwing the coach under the bus. You see it happen in Vancouver with Travis Green a little bit. Mark Bergevin does it all the time. I don't understand why these GMs aren't fired. Those 3 teams in specific, Calgary, Vancouver, and Montreal. These GMs have to go, no?
I think GMs have to go. I do think we need to look at the state of the NHL and its finances while analyzing this move, because it's cheaper to bring in a new coach than it is to bring in a new GM, if that makes sense. GMs tend to make, I think, a little bit more in some markets are an exception. I think Toronto is one of those. But I found it very strange, especially after a win. I guess they had the guy in mind. And what's his, one of the Sutters? I'm blanking on his first name.
Daryl
Sutters coming in. to take over. He is, and we'll get to why I think they brought him in a minute. But I think this is Trevelling's. I think this is his last bullet. Outside of maybe moving one of his superstars, I think this is the last move he can make as a GM before ownership goes, okay, bye, we'll see you later. Because the Flames are trying to complete a jigsaw that they don't have all the pieces to. And I don't think they're going to find those pieces with this move.
I disagree in terms of Josh. They gave Daryl Sutter a 3-year contract this year and then 2 years after.
That's probably what he asked for, though, right? Because he wasn't.
Yeah, but
not in the game.
My point is, I think it's absurd from the standpoint as that means Brad Trevelling has 3 more years. No, because what are you gonna do? Fire a GM, but you're gonna fire a GM, Trevelling, hire another GM, and then that GM's not gonna have his coach. So Daryl Sutter's gonna get fired and not get re-signed in 3 years. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I just think when you hire a GM, they should come with their own coach. Like you saw Dubas and Keith, Lamoriello, Babcock, like kind of in a partnership. So I think Calgary's building for failure right now.
Brad Trevelling re-signed in Calgary. It just says multi-year contract extension in 2019.
So they've committed to him long-term for some unknown reason.
Yeah. So we'll see. But
also, something that we didn't talk about in Calgary is there's rumors Matthew Tkachuk's very unhappy with his teammates not sticking up for him. He feels like he's the only one in the battle. Did you guys see all these reports?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about that because I thought the Flames looked disorganized and uninterested the last couple times, and it kind of seems to be since the Muzzin puck flip. Brandon brought this up with me was it last show or the show before, where their warm-up was just an absolute mess.
It was embarrassing.
Like they were tripping over each other, colliding with one another, pucks being flipped up and all that. So, you can't really pick apart a team too much from warm up, but when you see that and combined with their recent gameplay, that's why I think they bought in Daryl Sutter, because he's not going to take that crap. He's going to want to see organization. He's going to want to see discipline, and he's going to want to see a cohesive unit with the team. You know what I mean?
Is this what you had to say on Daryl Sutter?
Yeah, I mean, he's that type of coach. Any closing thoughts on the Flames?
Well, the problem is, he's that type of coach, but he's coaching Johnny Gaudreau. Like, fuck. I don't see Johnny Gaudreau blocking shots or doing all the old school stuff that the LA Kings did. Like, you guys remember those Kings teams in 2012, 2014?
Okay, I'll stop
you
right there.
Big.
I'll stop you right there. He's coached I think he's coached like 3 or 4 different NHL teams. They all play differently. He's a good coach for adjusting his gameplay with the players he gets.
Yeah, but Josh, like, this is a different era. Like, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not going to take the coachings that he done in 2008 and use it now. Like, I think the only recency bias you can do is in coaching. Like, I don't care what you've done past 2010. And then in 2010, like, it was the Kings. So, like, I'm not only looking at the Kings, but I'm like, why do you think this guy who's been in the league for 30 years is going to have success with where the game's going now? Like, I told you guys, I think Calgary needs a reset. I would give the captaincy to Tkachuk overnight. Gaudreau and Monahan's contracts are almost up. Giordano's like 37. Like, so I don't understand where Calgary wants to go here. Like, I think they should do like a retool kind of on the fly and see if they can kind of mix and match some pieces. But like, in reality, Monahan's not good enough for a number 1 center. Giordano is a number 1 defenseman, but he's 38th. And your other best player in Tkachuk is 21. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think so many people are at different stages of their hockey career that it's not working out. Like, you look at the Leafs, Marner, Matthews, Riley, Nylander, they're all in between 23 to 25. And then we got good veterans like Tavares, Thornton, and Spezza, Brody, just to kind of help them out. Mm-hmm. But I don't see Calgary having any planning when it comes to roster building whatsoever. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think if your top 2 players are 21 and 37, you have a fucking problem.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Fuck, Calgary's so bad. Like, I actually get angry. Like, I just think they did all this messed up. Like, who on earth thought trade James Neal for Lucic was a good idea? Like, I'm so confused.
Me too, Matt. I don't really have any opinions on Calgary.
Because they're so bad, you don't even have an opinion, Josh.
That's
Like,
all I know
honestly,
there.
like,
Them,
okay, yeah.
them in Winnipeg, it's like, okay, who cares?
Well, I know we have lots of opinions on Montreal, so we can move over to
Yeah.
that when we're done
Montreal's
with
dumb too.
Calgary. But let me start. I guess I'll introduce the breaking news is that they fired their goalie coach apparently mid-game. I didn't know
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bergeron's weird.
We've said that multiple times on the show now that he's a weird guy.
He's a weird bird.
So they bring in someone else. I don't even know his name. Do you guys know who they
Sean
brought?
Burke,
Right. So
who I thought was a very strange move because he was sniffing around a GM job like a couple weeks before. So I don't know why you're coming in as goalie coach, but he's also taking on a role of overseeing goaltending throughout the whole organization. So all the way down to the ECHL, all the way through the development overseas, stuff like that. And I think this all stems from Carey Price and the former, I can't remember his name, the former goalie coach had an argument a couple days before. And then Carey Price is having the game of his life against who are they playing? The Jets? I don't know.
The Senators?
Might have been the Senate. Okay, well, I could do that. But, they just fire him mid-game, and Bergevin said, no, I didn't talk to Carey Price before I did this, and no, there was no fighting amongst the team, but
That's
it's been reports that there was some arguments going on, and
what's fighting this year?
I don't know what a new goalie coach is going to do for Carey Price, who's been in the league for 10 years now. Like,
Mark Bergevin said there was a quote that he said, while Carey Price, and don't get me mistaken here, it's not the exact quote, but some along the lines of Carey Price is one of the best goalies in the league right now, but he still needs some help, which was kind of eyebrow raising because if I was Carey Price, I wouldn't necessarily argue that me needing help had to be publicized like that.
Wait, his GM said that about him?
Yeah, let me go find it.
Yeah, so I'll just talk while Brandon finds that quote. I just think the whole Carey Price situation is so much unadded attention. Like, I think firing a goalie coach now gets a lot of buzz, but if you fire the goalie coach in July, I don't think anyone knows. Would you agree with that, Josh?
Yeah, it's kind of especially in the middle of a game. Like, were they trying to just sneak it out there?
The quote is on TSN. Bergevin says Carey is still an excellent goalie, but he will need help.
Yeah, I don't know if I want my GM saying that about me. That seems weird.
We should do a game one day of the first thing, guessing the first thing that comes up to search bar on Google when you type in NHL players' names or GM's names, because the first thing that came up when I typed in Mark Bergevin was his arms and his muscles. And
I remember that photo going around, and I was so heartbroken when I found out it was Photoshop.
So I think that'd be kind of interesting. But regardless, moving back to the Montreal situation and the personal Carey Price situation, like I said, I wouldn't want that being publicized if I was Carey Price. I think the benefit of adding a new goalie coach right now is probably for reasons beyond the actual goalie position itself. Maybe the organization wants this individual in for other reasons, so they got to introduce him to the branches of the organization that could be available for openings. And I guess they saw something that could be moved around in the goalie department, right? So
yeah, it was a very strange move. Quick round table before we move on to the next one, which is going to be a fun one. Is Montreal making I got two, actually, so we'll start with my first one. It's my new segment, Josh's round table. Is Montreal making the playoffs? Yes or no?
Brandon, you can go first.
Yeah, I think so.
Matt?
I think they will, but I think they're going to make it by default because Calgary and Vancouver just are bad. But yes, Montreal will get the fourth spot. I'm
going to go with no. I'll go with no on this one. They currently sit in fourth place in the division with 26 points. Calgary's behind them with 24. And Vancouver's not too far behind with 22.
Montreal has 2 games and 5 games in hand.
Yes, they do have games at hand, but Calgary just made a coaching change, which I think will give them, that new coach bump. And Montreal's on a downswing. In their last 10, they're 2-4-4, which isn't the best record. So I think they'll miss. And the second one I got for you, does Carey Price finish his contract in Montreal, or is he moved?
I think this is kind of a tough situation just in terms of we don't know if the cap's going up, like if the cap was what it was projected to be a few years ago right now, I think he would definitely be moved just because I think you could throw in maybe a sweetener or maybe someone wants to take a flyer. But also, he has a no move and he has 5 years at 10.5. So if he keeps playing like this, I think it's going to get ugly really fast. But no, I'll say he finishes his career as a Montreal Canadian.
Brandon?
Well, how much?
He's got 6 years left after this.
5 years after this.
I don't think he'll finish his contract as a Montreal Canadian. I don't know if he'll finish his career. I don't know if that part of the question was relevant to me, but the part of the question that I'll answer is that I don't believe he would. By the nature of his playing this year, I don't think that he could possibly be. Yes.
Okay. I have a really good transition. So speaking of finishing your career in places,
but
we're touching this really quickly before we get to Ovi. Zach Parise and Brent Seabrook.
Nice. Yeah.
So just to give some background, Zach Parise was a healthy scratch for the first time in Minnesota, which is kind of funny because Minnesota, I don't care how good they're doing, they're not good. And their depth is obviously questioned. But this stemmed from an incident, actually. The goalie was pulled, and Zach Parise took a little bit of a long shift. I think it was a minute and a half, Josh.
Okay, I saw some. Wasn't he trying to get his teammate a hat trick?
So when it's an empty net, if someone needs to get a hat trick or any type of milestone, you kind of look for him. But there are some like obvious things like
you do that when you're up by 2. You only do that when you're up by 2.
So he took a long shift, and he's a pretty smart hockey player. I think we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And his reasoning after the game, talking to the Minnesota reporters, was I saw one of their guys change, and I thought I could make a play. I couldn't make the play, and they went the other way and scored. And in my opinion, I think a lot of people are debating, was this the only reason he got scratched? Infighting. I'm like, I think it is the only reason he got scratched. I think the Minnesota, Bill Guerin and their group, who's a new management group, looks at it saying, okay, we need accountability in the locker room. We have a lot of young guys, Kaprizov, Fiala. So I think we just need accountability. So we were not comfortable with you taking a minute and a half shift in that situation. And I think you're going to need to sit. And also, they did try to trade him to the Islanders last summer. So I do think this relationship is souring a little bit. But I think when you're 36, I think you're so much a professional, especially Parise. I don't see this like going too far, if you know what I mean, Josh.
Yeah, he was supposed to be moved for, was it Andrew Ladd in the offseason? And that, not the offseason.
Yeah, correct.
Last
trade
season,
deadline.
Then that didn't happen. Then the whole, the world kind of shut down. So put that on hold. But his contract's ridiculous. His contract's actually illegal now by NHL standards.
Yeah.
Was it him? It was Parise and Ryan Sutter with those stupid contracts. So those are extremely front end loaded. I think his time's almost done. If they'll move him, I don't know. He does have a no trade clause, but if he doesn't waive it, Minnesota might just say, okay, sit there. And moving on to Brent Seabrook, he retired after 15 seasons.
Great career.
Now I haven't seen this. Yes, he did have a great career, 3 cups. Chicago wouldn't have those cups without him. But did he officially retire? So he is giving up the rest of his contract?
I'm told I think he's going on LTIR because he still has $28 million owed.
Yeah.
So he will be on LTIR.
Okay. So he's retired.
Yeah. So there's no cap penalty like what happened with Luongo, nothing like that. Yeah. It's my assumption from reading on Twitter. I don't think there's been an official ruling yet, but I do think Brent Seabrook is going on retirement for the purpose of LTIR. So the Chicago Blackhawks would not be screwed.
Right. Great career by Seabrook. He was always
Hall of Fame? Hall of Fame?
Ooh, I think with 3 cups, you gotta.
I would say no. Only just because I know you won 3 cups, but if on every team I can name 5 players better than you, I don't think. Okay. You know what I'm trying to say, Josh?
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe it's like the Phil Kessel effect, but I definitely think Kane, Taves, Kane, Taves, Keith, and Seabrook all 4 of them should have statues outside of the arena with MJ.
And Crawford.
Maybe Crawford. But if I throw in Crawford, I might have to throw in Hossa and Sharp, no?
Okay, maybe we
Hossa
should
wasn't a true Blackhawk. Hossa went bouncing around for years with Detroit and Pittsburgh trying to get a
No,
ring.
but I just think that it makes it look better.
Maybe we don't need a statue. We just need like a mural painted on the wall.
Okay, but Kane and Taves definitely need like an actual statue beside
Yeah,
MJ. No, yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so speaking of greats,
I want to tee this up. I've been excited for this one.
okay, I'll flip it to you after I tee up you teeing it up. Okay, so speaking of greats, Alexander Ovechkin paid a $5,000 fine. Josh, what happened and what was the situation?
So Frederick or Fredrickson?
Doesn't matter. He's not good enough to get the credit.
Okay. He was trying to fight Ovechkin. By the way, Trent is a rookie in the league. He was trying to fight Ovechkin. He went after him once and he went after him again. And Ovechkin went, you know what? Fuck you. And just cowbelled him right on the blue line. So a cowbell is where you take your stick and you just hoof somebody right in the testicles, which doesn't feel very good. The jock does not help. And he was fined $5,000 for this. Now, that is less than 1% of Ovechkin's yearly salary. And I did the math. So let's assume we all make $40,000 a year. Okay, I did the math based off that. Matt, if I could tell you that for $21, you could kick anybody you wanted in the nuts and face no consequences whatsoever, would you do that for $21?
Yes, I would. I saw this going around Twitter. And just to be honest, I would pay hundreds because I just think that could hurt someone so bad. And wait, are you talking about just on the street or like in a hockey setting?
Just on the street.
Okay, yeah, because if you have no jock and I do that with a hockey stick or my foot, you're done.
Yeah.
So,
Brandon, would you pay that fine?
Yeah, that I don't want to say that I'm the type of person to just do that.
No, I'm not suggesting you do it, but if the option was given.
However, if it was a situation where the guy really, the individual really deserved the old kick to the gonads, I'll give him the old 50-yard field goal.
Yeah, I thought it was like, I thought a suspension was coming because that was like, he didn't even try and hide it. It was just.
I don't think it was a suspension just because you obviously saw what the kid did leading up to that. For like what? First of all, if you're Boston's the home team too. Why is this kid always on the ice when Ovi's on the ice? What strategy is that? Like, don't you get the Bergeron line out?
The guy can fight though.
Yeah, I know. I've seen him throw him.
The guy can fight.
Just background on this kid, he's really annoying. I think in a full season in the HL, he had 150 penalty minutes, which is kind of unheard of.
Why are we talking about the other guy?
No, because it's funny. I have a funny story. So everyone should go up and look him versus PK Subban because the Boston Bruins have a documentary every year where they mic up the players, and he's yelling at PK, "Oh my God, you Instagram," and then that WH word. Like, stop posting your workouts. Nobody cares. Josh, have you seen this clip?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what swear word you were trying to describe there.
Well, I don't want to say that word because it's very misogynist and usually attached to women. But anyways, he did say a lot of mean stuff at PK. So this guy is just trying to make a name for himself. I saw Boston play the Rangers a few weeks ago, and he was going after Panarin.
Live?
And
you were there? Sorry.
Well, yeah, Brandon, it's not funny. Anyways, yeah. So so yeah, this guy just goes after everybody. And yeah. So what's next, boys?
Well, I just like I don't understand why this guy was going after Ovechkin. Like,
he goes after everybody. I just gave you context.
Yeah, it's weird. Let's move away from hockey for a little bit, and I think Brandon, you can run with this one because you're kind of our basketball insider. The Raptors are kind of fucked. They've been hit by COVID hard, and I got a question for you. So whenever an NBA team has like a COVID outbreak, they don't really give a reason why, but the NBA is reporting that the Raptors had this outbreak because of inconsistent mask wearing among the coaching staff. Why all of a sudden is the NBA targeting the Raptors for this?
Huh.
They're in Florida. Josh,
you clearly know a little bit more about me than a little bit more about the situation than I do from that report. That's we can talk. There's such an interesting thing to talk about in terms of mask wearing. We forgot about the Pittsburgh Penguins media situation with them photoshopping masks onto fans and pictures. But
oh fuck, right, yeah.
We'll talk about that another time. That's right. The NBA releases a statement that addresses the overall NBA coronavirus statistics weekly or bi-weekly or something like that, and they don't say too much from an organizational standpoint. When like the Toronto Raptors released a statement, but the NBA did mention the specific characteristics that the Toronto Raptors were not displaying, I guess, in terms of COVID protocols. I haven't dug too deep into it. I'm not too aware that the coaches weren't wearing their masks. Do you know exactly what that was about?
Well, no, because we don't have, obviously right now nobody has access to the change room, so maybe it was in there. I mean, I know when Nick Nurse is yelling at the ref, he just pulls his mask down and yells at him.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about too.
Yeah, maybe it was that, but I just thought it was really weird that they went after them this way. I mean, what are they still down 5 coaching staff and 4 players or something like that?
So for the first time this year, this NBA shortened season, the Toronto Raptors have had 2 games postponed in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
And even when they've played those games, I think they've been down considerable amount of players. OG, Kyle Lowry, Pascal, and the coaching staff included. So I'm not too sure how it is getting cleaned up right now in terms of the situation. I hope everyone's okay physically and healthy, but you know, I hate seeing the Raptors have games canceled. I hate seeing anyone have games canceled, but it took us by surprise because it had happened to a lot of teams before us.
Yeah, just kind of a shame. And they drop an absolute diaper to who did they lose to before Boston?
Pistons?
Yeah, they lose an absolute diaper of a game to them, and then it was pretty close against Boston last night. I was kind of impressed by that, but that one against Detroit, they probably could have won that. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that brings up a good point because we don't want to spend too much time on the NBA. We have a lot of things to get to. However, the Detroit Pistons and Blake Griffin have agreed on a buyout on his contract, which will land him as a free agent, I would imagine. So that'd be the title of his Blake Griffin. And I wish we could have a great conversation on where his potential destinations would be.
We can all just pick a team.
Yeah. So that's the thing though, right? Like for me personally, it's hard because there is a reason why Blake Griffin isn't really the most attractive name right now. His stats have actually kind of gone down drastically over his career and lately too. I'm not saying I want to see him on the Raptors, so I'll just get that out of the way right away because the Raptors deserve a little bit of a more.
He's going to the bathroom.
Okay. Personally, I believe that the Raptors don't deserve a player kind of just coming off of. I'm looking for an inspiring player, not someone who's decreasing.
He's not bringing value to the team.
As Matt's question before he comes back, well, it might take him a couple minutes, who knows. Blake Griffin would be a good addition to a team in the NBA, like, I don't know. Everyone can make a case for the Lakers.
That's like, I'm thinking like the Lakers, the Clippers, or maybe the Knicks.
It could even go to the Heat. The Heat are a popular team for free agents, apparently, and the Heat make big pushes on notable names, too. So this is something that could fit right with them. The Heat are a franchise that take chances on players to like give them a redemption shot in their career. You can see that in Jimmy Butler and Andre Iguodala right now. And they've kind of I don't know what the word of the rest of the word, reinstated,
reinvigorated,
redefined their career in Miami, and Blake Griffin could easily have the potential to do that in 1 year or 2 years in Miami because he is an athletic player. He can still dunk and he can still shoot, and as he's got older, he's actually taken more of a increased amount of time to put into his shooting and his dribbling because obviously he wasn't able to physically be the high flying dunker he was throughout his young career.
Right. Am I wrong in saying, like, I'm not the biggest basketball fan, so I'm not really going to be following the Detroit Pistons, but am I correct in saying Blake Griffin will do well somewhere where he's not like the guy?
Yeah.
Like he'd be better where someone else is the defining number one.
Especially at his age, right? Although he might have been the guy back in the LA Clippers days and maybe early Detroit Piston days, I think that for most players coming off of You good?
Yeah, I thought I heard
Yeah.
yelling. I'm good.
For most aging skilled players, all former All Stars, they're looking to be an asset to a team, right? They're looking just to be a slid in piece of the puzzle. They're not looking to be the. I mean, how confident are you gonna feel, Josh, if you're Blake Griffin and and the team is going it's like, oh, okay, we want you mid-season, we're just gonna build around you, and you're like 36 and you're kind of dying down, and you don't want that. You just want to be. We're gonna build around Blake Griffin. Now, Blake Griffin wants to be the side piece to a LeBron, a Giannis, maybe
the Bucks, like
maybe even a Luka Doncic. He could be on the Mavs. That could be something. So, Matt, if you have an idea on where he would go, we can move right along back on to Matt's debates right after that.
Yeah, well, we would definitely have to apologize to the owner of the Clippers because I think he tried to shake his hand and Blake Griffin ran away or something. Doesn't matter. Anyways,
that did happen. But you think he's going to go back to the Clippers because of that?
Yeah, I think. Okay, so all that context, it's not as bad as it sounds. So you know when they shoot before games, Josh?
Yeah.
Steve Ballmer
Steve Ballmer, the Microsoft guy. Yeah, that's Steve Ballmer, who bought the Clippers. One of his first moves was getting rid of Blake Griffin. So he kind of tried to walk over and shake Blake Griffin's hand. And you know how after they're done shooting, they run and sprint to the locker room? He did that kind of early. And then, like, Brandon, did he make eye contact with him, or did he just kind of see him in the corner of his eye?
It was pretty clear. I'll send you the video after this, Josh.
Yeah, okay.
Steve Ballmer got intentionally out of his seat.
Yeah, he got up
directly in this eye path of Blake Griffin and kind of extended his hands. Blake Griffin, you could see, looked at him, put his hands down, and like did a Naruto sprint, that anime sprint right to the locker room. Just didn't look at him, didn't acknowledge him, and it was kind of actually funny because you could see Steve Ballmer like try to hide the fact that he just got his hand shaked.
Okay, but to be fair, I would also run away from Steve Ballmer. Guys,
I'm gonna go find it right now, but let's move on to Matt's debates.
Yeah, let's get to it. Matt, we got 4 questions today, right?
Yes, we do. And these 4 are actually really good. Some of them are funny. Some of them are actually really good debate questions. But the first one, after this season, should the Toronto Maple Leafs re-sign Frederik Andersen and Zach Hyman? And if so, what contract would you be offering them?
I'll go first. I will say no to re-signing Frederik Andersen because you got Jack Campbell. And I will say yes, you do need to re-sign Zach Hyman because he brings something to this team that other players do not have and do not bring and is not easy to find. Hyman is a Toronto-born guy. He's got book deals here. I think he's got like a couple car deals. He realizes the value that being a Toronto Maple Leaf brings. A $2 million contract in Toronto versus a $2 million contract in Winnipeg. The Toronto one is worth more because of the endorsements you get, the perks you get, the people you know, the living situation, the style, the popularity of the team. The perks of being an alumni. It's true, though.
No, but what contract would you give him?
I would give him, I think he realizes the value. His agent is smart. And they're going to look for somewhere between 3.7 to 4.2 over a 2-year deal and wait until the salary cap's lifted when he can go and earn his money.
That's What's a risk. Question? Should the Maple Leafs re-sign Hyman and Andersen, and if so, for how much?
Hyman and Andersen. I was under the impression that it might be only capable to do one of those.
Yeah,
Sure. Okay, if I was going to take one or the other, I would take the contract that has Hyman stay with us for whatever price that would be, I guess. In terms of finding another goalie right away, that's a starter. Who knows if that's with us currently, and Jack Campbell or whatever in our system. However, yeah, so I hope Josh just saw that video.
The guy he totally ran on it. He knew what he was doing.
It was super funny, yeah, right? Yeah. So back to I don't know how much Frederik Andersen would be asking for on his next deal. Do you guys have an idea? Yeah, 7. And Hyman, what's he at, 4 right now?
Hyman only makes 2.2.
Right. So I don't know. Hopefully we can, obviously, if there's a way to get both and both of them decide to take some sort of discounts and cutbacks to create a team that happens in the NHL so very often. That would be nice. However, if it came down to a situation where we had to burn one of the contracts, I'd love to see Hyman because I think that creates the on-ice representation that the Leafs look for in terms of grittiness, hustle, and hard work. So whatever the question is, Zach Hyman deserves to be the contract that the Leafs look into more, I guess, over Frederik Andersen.
Well, Josh, you said a lot of things that were wrong. Because, like, I just think if you're a 28-year-old, you're not going to take a 2-year contract because you're going to want, like, long-term and security.
Matt, yeah, but you're ignoring the state of the NHL. If he wants to be paid, he's not going to get paid next season.
But, dude, like, him getting paid is different. Like, I think I would not be surprised if someone gives him a 5-year contract worth 4.5.
I think he would rather stay in Toronto for 4.2.
For 2 years, though. That's a lot of money.
3 years.
Yeah, so I just think definitely Hyman's the one that we keep, or we should try to keep and do resources to. But one of the reasons, this is a question I wanted to get into with you guys, the narrative that it's a good idea just to make Jack Campbell a 60-game starter if there's 82 games next year and just let Andersen walk, and it's no big deal. I think that is nonsense. Like,
it's very risky.
It's so risky.
You have to get a different backup.
Exactly.
Can't go Campbell Hutch.
And it would be a 40-40 split, no?
Probably 50-30.
Who gets 50? The other guy?
No, Campbell.
Okay, well, like, he's never done it in his career, and I think the debate kind of is, like, I want to ask you this. Why are we so mean on Frederik Andersen and his legacy? Like, I think he was so good at bringing his team up.
Because he can never get it done when it matters.
Okay, but I could say that
time on one debate
I could say that about every player, though, Josh.
You could do, but we got 3 more questions to get to.
Okay, so we have to make these longer because I don't like. Josh's
I know, but
opinion.
we don't want someone to get their throat cut just yet.
Okay, yeah. So
Brandon's getting antsy.
Nah, I want to hear the rest.
If you were in charge of the intermission broadcasts, what would you do to make them better, and why do they suck? I will repeat the question. If you were in charge of the intermission broadcasts, what would you do to make them better, and why do they suck?
Have the reporters open up more cards on screen, because that was very attractive to a large audience. I think it was fun when they just started opening up the hard hockey packs and explaining.
Are you being sarcastic?
No. I like that because it's just not them. It's not them talking, and it's them. It was them explaining current trends, and they were explaining how an NHL should go into Top Shot, and I think that's really cool. Top Shot's really interesting. I don't know if you guys know much about it, but it's NBA Top Shot right now. They do it. It's an online platform where they sell cards and moments. It's really interesting, and NHL might look into it. It's a huge thing. Regardless, they talked about that on the intermission show, and that was one of the only times I was completely engaged. That has to do with my personal hobbies, but in terms for the general audiences, maybe some behind the scenes camera action and more players stuff, not this old reporters. I don't want to hear about them. More Mitch Marner, draw him out of the plane dressing room, more Matthews, more from the players in the intermissions. I know it's hard for them because they just want to break on the other side of the whole thing, right? On the other side of the conversation. But, for the average onlooker of a Sportsnet program or sports hockey game program, you don't want to necessarily hear an opinion from people who aren't, as familiarized with the actual playing of the game that night. I love to hear someone's opinion from the Leafs, from the coaching staff, from the arena that night.
I agree with Brandon a little bit on like switching up the content, because I didn't see what they did last night because obviously we were live, but they always seem to do the same thing. And whenever TSN has the game, they always do the quiz, and it's the stupidest questions with the dumbest answers.
Yeah, I hate the quiz.
Like, the people on it are entertaining, but it's just like not in that segment.
Questions are clickbait only material.
To switch up the questions and like get into more, actual conversations rather than saying that Mark Messier is the Tom Brady of the NHL. And then I like what they're doing in the first intermission on Saturday nights, where it's like they have, I forget what they call it, but they have like conversations about stuff outside of hockey, but that affects hockey. So it's like social issues, and they talk about that, and it's good to get different insights as to how hockey's going around that.
Okay, but Josh, my only problem with that is they keep it so Ontario based. Like,
it's an Ontario broadcast, right?
No, it's national.
The Saturday ones are, yes.
But my point is, what the segment that you just brought up, I hear them talk about Grimsby, Ontario. I hear them bring up Oakville. I hear them bring up Milton. It's just
I think you're thinking of hometown hockey.
No, Josh, literally on these, they always do a deep dive, not where the players are from, but of what is it called? Just of around. Like they always I just feel like they don't keep it national, and it's not fun and entertainment because they always name drop little inside jokes that you have to be a hockey nerd to understand. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So let me guess what I would do. I would switch up the panel every weekend. So it's different people on there. I'd keep the host. I think David Amber does a fantastic job, and James Duthie's a Canadian gem. So keep those two on there on their respective networks. And on there, I would have a former player, an analytic guy, and like a former scout. So you have eye test, you have someone who played the game, and you have someone who knows the numbers, and let them argue like the TNT panel does or whatever.
There is no
I like how
debate whatsoever.
I like the retired player aspect of the current panels, especially like the fresh retired players like Bieksa and I remember there's a couple other players who tried it, the paneling, but
Berkey was fantastic too. Maybe
Tony
get some
Romo,
former executives on there. But they definitely do need to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, next question, unless Matt's opinion.
Yeah, I'll go quick. I just don't understand why hockey, we have to make it in such like a little bubble. And I don't understand why they don't just talk about like hockey during the intermissions more broadly. Like, I feel like it's always the fourth line guy who's from somewhere in Ontario who finally gets his chance. Like, dude, no matter who the Leafs put in, like if it's Nick Petan, he's Canadian. They do a story about Nick Petan. They do a story about like, just Justin Hall. Like, I just think it's so annoying. And I honestly just want to hear them talk about Austin Matthews versus Connor McDavid. So I think they just have to change their narrative.
I don't want to see that every week, though.
Well, it's only this year. I just mean talk about the top players more. Like, I just feel like it's such kind of a sucky loser mentality, just the way they talk. And their questions that they phrase make no sense at all. Like, they just say, who's the best defenseman? And they all give their opinions, but then no one debates who's the best defenseman. Because, like, when they did the best defense, it was the Canadian division. Sorry, the best defense in the Canadian division. Some of the answers were, like, ludicrous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think, I'm not saying turn it into more of a debate show, but, like, they got to make it way more engaging. Because, Josh, as you said, that you take your dog for a walk. Like, it's so boring.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they should do. Have Matt's debates on at the intermission instead.
I don't even know. Okay, so these two are a little more light. Okay. If you could buy one professional sports team, but not a Toronto team. Sorry, I'll rephrase. If you could buy one professional sports team, but not the Toronto Maple Leafs, what team would it be?
Anaheim Ducks.
Okay, Josh, fuck. Are you serious?
Dude, I love the Ducks.
Okay.
How are you supposed to say fuck on his answer?
Yeah, it's my opinion.
No, but usually people say like a big franchise, like, oh, the Giants, the Lakers.
Why would I want the Giants? They suck.
Can you expand on why you want the Ducks? No, but I just mean like.
Why do I want the Ducks? Okay, because I fell in love with the Mighty Ducks when the movies came out. I watched them win the cup when I lived in Anaheim, so I got that connection to the team. And I just, I like their jerseys. I like I just want to buy them because I like them. I don't know how to defend it.
Okay.
I would buy the Tampa Bay Lightning. Simply off.
Brandon. Oh, fuck.
Okay, I'm just kidding. But I would buy the Tampa Bay Lightning because, I have similar reasons to love it as Joe. I never lived in Tampa, but they were my favorite team as a young kid, and Steven Stamkos was someone I idolized, and they're really successful now as a franchise, and they have a great drafting system, and they're in one of the greatest. Florida's not the greatest governmental maybe run situation, but the temperature and the situation and the living areas are nice to be. So I'm sure the housing is nice if I was to be the owner, and golfing and all that stuff would be great down there.
Matt, am I buying this team as like a luxury purchase, or am I looking to get money back?
Well, I thought you would do both, and I thought you would have some like good stuff. I didn't think you guys would go for the most boring, relaxed hockey markets. Like, I thought you guys would say like the blah 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 soccer team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, God damn it.
I would buy the Montreal Canadiens just so I could ruin it.
Okay, I was going to ask this question, but I think we need more pop. So this would be the last question, or maybe I'll throw in a soft one because you guys don't feel very debatey, I would assume.
It's a stupid
So
question.
Matt
We're writing
thinks,
exams this week. Give us a break.
okay, fine. Matt thinks hockey players are unathletic compared to other athletes. Debate. I think they're unathletic because I think personally, when you look at athletes, you think about running, jumping, and strength. And I've seen Connor McDavid like just wearing a t-shirt. He doesn't look very in good shape. So I think hockey players are unathletic. What are your thoughts on my opinion?
Are you being fucking serious right now?
I'm being serious. I think you have to be more coordinated than anything.
Oh my
I
God.
think it's a
It was nice
different
knowing you.
skill.
It was a good week.
And I
We
think-
touched on a lot of interesting subjects today. Personally, one of my favorite was the
Where's
Daryl
Phil?
Sutter hiring.
Where's Phil Kessel right now? This guy's such an idiot here.
Exactly. Phil Kessel is not a good. What other sport could Phil Kessel play
Such an
professionally?
idiot. You didn't get the punchline. That's funny.
Okay, Matt.
What's up?
Connor McDavid skates at an average of 34 kilometers an hour. The puck is moving faster than that. These players swat it down out of midair.
That's coordination.
Hang
Yeah,
on,
you're coordinating.
hang on. Coordination is athleticism. They're skating as fast as they can. They're hitting at high speeds. Their stamina has to last over a 60-minute game, which could go up to 3 hours. They're sprinting.
Okay, yeah, but you play
I'm not
18
done.
minutes of the game.
I'm not done. They have to do that the whole time. They're throwing their weight around. They're constantly shooting, constantly battling in the corner. And oh yeah, they're doing this on an 8-inch blade of steel.
Okay, but like if you compare that to soccer players who play the whole game, they're sprinting. They all have 40-inch verticals.
I need the show to end. I need it to end. It has to stop. Someone's gonna get hurt.
Josh, you think what?
How is they're not less athletic. Like they're probably just as athletic as a soccer player.
Dude, no, soccer players could be Olympic like track runners, bro. Like you know what I'm trying to say?
They're okay.
Like the most unathletic sport is baseball.
Yeah, that's obvious.
But
I didn't bring up
I
baseball.
don't know how you can say hockey players aren't
They're
athletic.
the least athletic in the whole professional sports industry.
Baseball, yeah.
No, you said hockey is the least athletic sport in the whole professional sports industry.
I said hockey players aren't athletic as as mostly other athletes because I don't think the majority of hockey players play another sport professionally.
I'm gonna disagree because most hockey players in the NHL right now, or a majority of them, played lacrosse in the off season.
Golf.
Ball.
You think Johnny Gaudreau could play lacrosse professionally?
He's probably be a great lacrosse player.
Yeah,
I'm
he
sure
would be. He's
that's
fast as
what.
fuck.
Oh my God, bro. Sam Bennett couldn't do a pull-up at the combine. Like, this is what I mean. I'm not talking about
Okay. Now,
on ice hockey stuff.
Okay.
I'm talking about in terms of physical
Could a
capability.
defensive lineman in the NFL do a pull-up at the combine? Could an
Yes.
offensive lineman?
Yes.
No.
Dude, I'll
No.
send you a video. Jason Pierre-Paul, who's 6'4", 320 pounds, can do 20 backflips.
how does that help him on the NFL field?
No, but I'm talking about pure athletics,
Didn't we
athleticism.
just talk about someone jumping out of a pool a couple weeks ago?
Brandon, your mic.
Your audio. Okay, he was saying something dumb anyways. Josh, I'll talk to you.
Whoa, fuck you. We're talking about how Chris Kreider jumps out of a fucking pool.
Yeah,
Okay.
Matt, you called Chris Kreider a beast a couple weeks ago.
I did call Chris. But like I'm a Rangers fan on the low, so I do love Chris Kreider. But my opinion more is LeBron James could probably play in the NFL. You know what I mean? You're 6'7", you're a fitness phenom. I don't think
go into LeBron James playing in the NFL.
because I said these players can play multi-sports because they're of pure athleticism. Do you think Connor McDavid can play pro in any other sport? No.
Jonathan Tavares almost played professional lacrosse.
Yeah.
Okay, well, a major sport. No offense to your lacrosse players.
Dude, no chance. There could be no cross athlete sports anymore because the
Deion Sanders.
the time and effort.
Not one of
required
these
for each
cross
sport.
athlete players could ever do it with hockey. And that's because it's way too hard, and hockey requires too much of an
hockey is such a
individual.
niche sport. Like the movements you make on the ice cannot be represented.
You can play
reflected.
basketball. You can play baseball and football like Deion Sanders because you're picking your ass in the outfield for half the fucking game.
Okay, but he's Hall of Fame in both, Brandon. It's different.
He doesn't even have to run hard when he hits a home run either. Like you just jog around the base. All you're doing is sitting in there for in the position for a good old minute and a half. Like you're just trying to hit a good one. No one's trying to hit you with their shoulder, going gunning after your head. You're not on skates going 30 kilometers per hour.
Hockey players
Baseball, you just
have to be in tip-top shape.
That day in the bubblegum chewing contest later on that night at the bar.
Okay, but you have to admit, we don't have an athlete like LeBron, like Ronaldo, like you said.
Sidney Crosby.
Okay, dude, you think Sidney Crosby is as athletic as LeBron James? Don't say that.
Okay, LeBron, you can't.
No, I am, Josh.
James. No, you can't because he's an outlier.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Look at your average NBA player.
Fine. Devin Booker. You think
who the fuck is Devin Booker?
Okay, never mind. Hey, Shaq, Zion Williamson, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyreek Hill. Like, these guys are actually just beasts and could have made the Olympics.
They can run fast, but they can't play hockey fast.
But people who play hockey fast. So I'll put it this way. Do you think Connor McDavid could outrun most hockey players just sprinting? Probably not.
I don't watch NHL players sprint.
No, but I'll bet you everything I have. Like, Wayne Simmons is not that fast of a skater, but he's big. Wayne Simmons would destroy Connor McDavid in a foot race.
How do you know that?
Okay. Would you pick McDavid over Simmons in a foot race?
I would take McDavid in a foot race.
No, running.
I would take McDavid.
Brandon?
Over Simmons? Wayne Simmons?
Yes.
Why are we picking who's winning a 100-meter sprint between McDavid and Simmons?
McDavid, just considering that he trains to speed.
Wait, I missed it. Brandon, say it again.
McDavid trains for speed, so I would imagine Connor McDavid sprints in his offseason.
Okay. So, anyways, last question. If you could play one summer Olympic sport, what would it be? I would go water polo and the diving. What would you guys do?
Let's pause there. Why would you play water polo? That's an interesting answer.
I just think it's so fun and it's something I've never done. And you need athleticism to play it. And I'm sorry. Anyways, yeah, I just think water polo is interesting and fun. I've never played it, but I'd love to try. What do you guys think? If you could do one summer Olympic sport, what would it be?
Table tennis.
Oh, that counts. But like, you've played table tennis a lot. Like, it's not interesting or new. Okay, yeah, fine. No, you don't need to win. You're just gonna play and represent your country for fun.
So I can suck at it?
You can be bad at it. It's just fun.
All right, 100-meter sprint. So I'm
Josh, don't do that. No, don't do that. Because but that's like
fast hockey players are.
That's embarrassing, Josh. Because you get destroyed.
You just said I didn't have. Okay, trampolining.
Is that a thing? I don't think that's a thing.
No, it's in Mario and Sonic go to the Olympic Games. It's a thing.
Do you have to do backflips or how do you win?
You can do whatever you want. It's a freestyle.
No, but do they just rate you out of 10 or how does that work?
They rate you out of 10, yeah.
Okay.
No, I changed my answer to European handball. I love European handball.
Okay, that's a good one.
All right.
Who wants
Brandon,
to sign
you didn't give an answer.
Yeah, I said table tennis.
Table tennis. You made fun of him for it.
Okay, Brandon, give us a better answer.
Okay, skateboarding.
Okay, one more try. Third time's a charm.
Both of those are Olympic sporting events.
Okay, yeah, Josh, you can wrap it up.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. We'll come back next week. We'll have better debate questions for you because this was just an absolute gong show, those last 3 questions. Love you, Matt. Love you, Brandon. We'll see you guys we can do Monday?
Yeah, sure.
We'll do Monday. We'll chat then. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm still talking because my mouse has died and I can't get to the end button. There we go. Bye.